And now, ladies and gentlemen,
Put your thumbs up and say it's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, Tickety Boo, everything's Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo, son. Tickety Boo.
Tickety Boo.
Hello and welcome to Tickety Boo. If this is your first time listening, you've picked a great episode to join us. Just so you know, we put new episodes out every Monday. And today's episode is going to be a bunch of questions that we tend to swerve. Not because we don't know what the answers are, but more because they're going to make us stop and take a bit of a look at ourselves. So I don't think these questions are going to be confusing, but they might be slightly uncomfortable as we move through them, because most of the time we avoid them because we know what we're not looking at and we're not sure why we're ready to face the answers. So grab a pen, grab a piece of paper. It's probably an episode you're going to want to come back to, but let's get into it. So the first question I'd like us to talk about is, what am I still holding on to that's already gone?
My past.
My youth. Yeah. I think most people are stuck because letting go means admitting that, like, a past version of life isn't coming back. And that creates more fear than people kind of realise. Letting go of stuff, I think, is a biggie for people.
And I think it's not just that version of us when we were younger. It's the identity that we've outgrown, like as we're evolving. It can be relationships. It can be a version of health as well. It can be around what we thought our goals were. Like, we're still stuck playing out this role, this routine. And it's like, and we're holding on to it because it's familiar.
Yeah.
And we don't know who we would be without it.
Yeah, that resonates with me. I realise I hold on to versions of myself that maybe worked at one point in my life, but they always end up costing me.
Yeah.
So there's a pattern, and you can see the pattern, and you can have awareness of the pattern, but that doesn't actually mean you start to do the work to break the pattern. There's a difference between the two. I think the pattern has to run enough times till you're sick and tired of it.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot of stuff that, well, this is just from my personal point of view, there's a lot of stuff that I hang on to. When I was growing up, some of it's ideologies, thoughts and beliefs that were, you know, that you were taught by your primary caregivers and the people around you, what you picked up and you'd learned. That was stuff. They're not just stuff that you might say, you know, they weren't perfect people giving you beliefs. Not just that, times have changed. We've changed, but we're still hanging on to... and some of that, it can be either like current, where you're hanging on to a relationship where somebody's already checked out, and it's a bit like that with some of your thoughts and belief processes.
Well, the thing is, when you mentioned people there, when you let go of these people, detach whatever language you want to use, that also involves you letting go of who you were trying to be.
Yeah.
Yes. And that's where it starts to get a little bit complicated, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, within that relationship, I've got a preset idea of who I should be within that relationship, and obviously when you let that relationship go, maybe again it's something else to face up to.
Yeah. You know, it's almost like, what position was I jostling for in that interface? Where was I trying to make sure that unconsciously they saw me as being here or there, or that person, or that kind? So we've talked about this on other episodes, the performance. There's a
People
performance.
pleaser.
Yeah, and the performance is not from a place of manipulation. It's normally from a place of fear and uncertainty. So, like, for that question, what am I still holding on to that's already gone? Name one thing that's over and done, but it's still shaping your decisions today.
And I have another thing that we can all consider. We don't necessarily need to answer it right now. But as we recognise that we're holding on to a past version of whatever it is, what version hasn't caught up with where we're heading to?
Great.
I think it's just as valuable to look at, because then we get to focus that version of you that you were, the performance side, isn't going to get you to this next bit that you want to get to, and what you've evolved and the impact you want to make and your new passions. So I think that's a really, to flip it on its head, that's also what we can look at. So what needs to change?
Agreed. I absolutely agree. And I think the thing is, the temptation is I need to change this. I need to fix it. I need to change who I am. Right now, just noticing it is enough.
Yeah.
Notice it, write it down, put it in big letters, put a highlighter pen over it, put stars on it, and revisit that thing and work away at it.
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
Great.
Question number 2. Who would I be if I stopped trying to be impressive? Now, this question is not meant to go, you're walking around all the time peacocking and showing off. What I mean is, most people don't know who they are when they're not being useful, competent, or needed.
Yeah.
So when you're not doing acts of service, fixing, helping, rescuing, who are you?
Because that gets exhausting and depletes your energy and burnout. And it's so important to come and reflect on this.
Well, the thing is, if you think like being useful is your way to make you feel okay, you are never going to stop performing. Mm-hmm. It's an endless task. Where'd you stop?
I think some of it depends on your reasons for wanting to be useful, or I mean, I did have an answer fully prepared for that question, and then you've kind of blown it out the water by, moving on to, in fixing, and what have you. For me, I don't need to impress anybody anymore. I'm fairly content there.
I think that's the important thing anymore.
Yeah,
anymore.
I once would, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Once upon a time,
Yeah.
absolute nightmare.
Yeah.
It could be the car I drive, the things I say, the way I conduct myself, the clothes, all of that stuff. But no, that's a bit irrelevant now. So for me, looking to impress people has been replaced with wanting to live up to the expectation that other people have of me, which is because I'm kind of in a position of respect now, especially when you're an employer, you're a therapist as well.
Yeah.
You have this expectation that everybody has an expectation of you to hold yourself to kind of a higher standard than everybody else. For me, it's not about trying to impress people anymore. It's about trying to set a standard.
Isn't it?
Well, and also it's that they're trying to fit in and being seen in one way, but also it can be an armour. So it's a wall we've put up and it's a mask we wear.
Yeah, the thing is, you don't want that pressure of being capable because we're not always capable and we can't always perform, and we have down days, and there's days where Ian doesn't want to be his best. Ian wants to sit in his pants and eat crisps and do everything that he tells people not to do because he's earned the right to do it. But when you feel there's this pull externally that you should be here, you should be that, whose life are you really living?
Well, for me, I 100% agree, but it's not all about an external pull. A lot of it's an internal pull.
Yeah.
Like with my kids, my 2 boys, yes, they're grown up now.
Yeah.
But am I trying to impress them? Yeah, probably I'm, but it's for a different reason than trying to impress somebody and say, look at my car, look who I am, look, I'm the big cheese.
Well, that's to impress, to inspire. Very, very different.
Inspire, yes.
And I think the thing...
Lead by example.
The thing we can do and reflect is if people are listening and then they go, oh my gosh, they're recognising they're doing a lot of this in these patterns. It's like, who would you be if nobody was clapping? It's like, when a tree falls, does it make a sound? Like, who would you be?
Well, the thing is, when you're not trying to inspire, motivate, train, heal, meet expectations, who are you? And that generally scares the living daylights out of people when you remove that. Who's the person behind all of that?
Yeah.
And they go, I don't know, because I'll be honest, I haven't totally figured that answer out yet.
No, I haven't totally figured it out. But I do know that if somebody went to my 2 sons and says, who is the most influential male figure in your life? I would like them to say Dad. Mm-hmm. That's an absolute thing. Yeah. So for me, it's about figuring out what,
I think there's a difference.
I lead by example.
In my opinion, there's a difference between I would like them to say and I need them to say. Because then there's a need to perform to get you to that place, if that kind of makes sense. Mm-hmm. And then you're kind of chasing something. So I think fundamentally this falls back to, who are you when no one needs you?
Yeah. Great.
That is a really powerful question to to sit with, and it's one that I definitely have got to reflect on more. Okay, question 3. What if I stopped fixing and started feeling? Oh, yeah. This is important because fixing feels productive. It does. But feeling, it makes you feel exposed.
Yeah.
Yeah. We avoid feelings because feelings generally, once the speed of anxiety has gone away, slows things down. And slowing things down and stopping and sitting and feeling removes a sense of control from the situation.
And I was just going to say, like, the thing I say about fixing
Yeah.
is actually that's a way of trying to control the situation, the outcome. Or even if you're trying to fix somebody else or yourself, you're trying to control how it is, how you're perceived, how they are.
Yeah.
Whereas if we allow ourselves to feel, which can be scary, that's actually, if we consider that data, if we're going to like compare
Yeah.
it to, like, that's where all the information is. That's where we get to know who we really are, where like what's true to us, what's important to us. It's allowing those feelings and allowing them to come through. And feelings are scary, but as we've said before,
Whoa.
you've got to feel it to heal it.
Let me ask you a question. I like to think all three of us have got reasonably good awareness. Yeah. So we're good at understanding what we're feeling. How good are you at sitting with what you feel? Just sitting with it. I know I need to get a lot better at that.
Yeah, me too. Hand
Yeah.
on heart. I've not got that one totally figured out yet.
And honestly, that has been my primary focus in the last sort of 4 months in
Yeah.
particular. I signed up for a somatic and therapy training so that I could understand because of what I had been navigating.
Yeah.
And so I know that'll help my clients, but I
Yeah.
knew it was really important for me that I did it because it is something I say again and again. So I better practice what I preach.
Well, I think the problem is we're trained to fix and we help people long before we help ourselves.
But we also understand that we are a work in progress.
Yeah, God,
we will be a
we're
work
not
in progress
perfect.
to the day.
Yeah.
You know, so the minute that we close it down and we say we've got this stuff totally figured down and locked down, well, then our growth stops.
It has
So-
stopped. And I think the thing is we can see our patterns long before we do anything about them. You know, but avoiding these feelings, as we know, prolongs them.
Yeah.
But for me, I think sometimes maybe because, I mean, I am pretty good with my feelings. I'm fairly balanced, fairly open. But I have so much feeling linked to fixing.
Yeah.
That's where a lot of my better feelings come from: validation, productiveness.
Well, and then this
feeling.
is-
What are
the
you
need
trying
be
to
needed.
fix instead of feel?
Yeah, well,
And this is when fixing becomes an action
Yeah.
and a way of being busy to take us away from the thing we're meant to be focusing on. The process of trying to fix it keeps us busy,
Yeah.
which isn't great.
well, yeah. I'm naturally a fixer. That's what I do. So that's where I kind of, I suppose, validate myself.
And I'm with you on that. I'm one of those as well. But that avoidance of that feeling when we're fixing ultimately comes back and reappears as anxiety and fatigue. That's the lesson that I've learned. That's the pattern that I can repeat because generally when you go into fixing, you put yourself at the back of the queue. You put your needs at the back of the queue.
I agree.
And that, and you feel bad breaking that. I'm not going to come to the rescue.
But that's if you're chronic and it's
Yeah.
something that you do as one of your, your general
Yeah.
everyday settings.
Yeah.
Now, for me, I feel I've got a slightly better, I'm still terrible at it, but I've got a better balance with it. And I've started to figure out who I'm helping to fix, why I'm doing it,
Yeah.
to expect nothing in return because I don't do it for something back. I've figured it out, I'll do it for me. So this unwritten contract where I'll only do it for people that will do it for me.
Yeah.
Well, there is an element of that. But at the same time, I don't expect anything back now. I understand that a lot of why I'm doing it is for me.
Yeah.
So, but now I am very, very different. I look at a lot of people and they're just looking for a fast fix. They don't really care. They just want the quickest way out of a situation. They don't want the learnings from it. But we live in a society where everybody just wants instant fixes.
Yeah.
So if I'm the fastest way to fix a problem, rather than figuring it out, they'll pick the phone up to me.
Yeah.
And that is, I've realised now that that's actually taking their learning from them.
It does.
And it's just making them inherently lazy. So now, rather than fixing, I would rather steer. I would rather steer them in the direction of the answers that they need than actually just do it for them.
Great
That's certainly what I do with my kids.
Yeah. Really, really good approach. All right. Ready for question 4?
Let's go.
Why do I keep trying to earn love that I already deserve? And when I say love, it's not all about, relationship. It's like friendship, acceptance. Because the reality is most of us aren't chasing love or acceptance. We're actually trying to get a sense of security, probably because we felt that friendship, assurance, love at one point in life was conditional.
Yeah, and conditional in relationships, in friendships, in how we interact, and it's how we prove that we're worthy. And then it gets caught up in that. It's like the worthiness. Am I enough? Yeah, it's a really interesting one, isn't it?
But I think in our friendship dynamic and our friendship group, we've all probably seen each other at our best and at our worst.
Absolutely.
But the love, the respect, the friendship stays there because we see beyond the thing, the event, and we don't have to chase. But so really, what are we saying in that environment? Do we feel safety?
Yeah.
I think there needs
one.
to be safety because, the belief that you have to earn it through people pleasing or giving or providing or thinking if you just try harder, the acceptance, the love and the friendship will become easier. That's like jumping on a treadmill that never switches off.
Yeah, I think a lot of the attention, friendship that you tend to attract is fake. So we talked about having big numbers. The reason I say that, we talk about having big social circles. I've always had a fairly big social circle, but I've told you recently I've figured that one out, and it's much, much smaller than I thought it was.
Yeah.
Because what it is we all have a facade. Like we were talking about another friend earlier on the way here.
Yeah.
And we have a facade. And then what it is people will love that facade. They'll give validation to that facade. Yeah. It's only those people that know the real you that you can't take on face value, that you have to really get to know warts and all. These are the real friends and the real attachments that you should have.
So do you think then that we need to get better as people at having... Intimacy is a word that's normally taken out of context, but what I mean is being able to have intimacy in our vulnerability in our relationships.
Vulnerability is the word, yeah.
And I think it's about being selective. We can have, as you say, like a large network of friends, but we have our inner circle who are like your ride or die. They know everything, and there's nothing. You don't have to have everybody in that. It's like some people may have one person, two. You have your inner circle, and then gradually you go out, and then you have the associates, the people you know. So you're not giving that valuable part of you away to everybody. Like they have to earn the right to be in your inner circle.
Yeah, they do. But also that shouldn't feel like you're constantly on a performance review.
No.
Well, that's the thing about the people in the inner circle. You never are. You're just genuinely you, and you are what you are. Yeah. And if that involves you being a bit of a dick, they'll tell you. You know, pick your head up. You're not right there, but these are the real friends. It's the ones that won't challenge you. They're not.
Well, the thing is, I think when you feel like you have to perform for it, you're going to keep auditioning for it.
Yeah.
And rehearsing the role and finding out, this way works better, and I need that reassurance. And
some of it is this natural instinct that goes back from whenever to when we were pack animals, and being accepted was survival. But then also, there's something going on in our programming that we're either trying to fix or chase. And until we figure out what it is we're chasing, we're going to be chasing it forever, and we're never going to stop.
And also from a psychological point of view, we're born with an intrinsic need to belong and to be in community. Well, if we take it back to like the olden days, you didn't want to be banished from the tribe, but that's also when it's nurtured, it gives us a sense of well-being. That's where we get our acceptance and our enoughness from, is being in community, having that sense of belonging. And that's the thing. So when it depends whether we're coming from it from a positive emotional way, or whether we're like trying to plug the gap, the leaks.
Yeah. So like people that this question has resonated with, there are tiny little risks that you could take I call it toe dipping to grow confidence. Like learning how to say no or no thank you without justifying your response. And sitting in the discomfort. We just talked about that, sitting in the discomfort. Oh, I've just said know and learning to grow within it. And then maybe try not chasing reassurance. Sit in the vulnerability of I'm feeling anxious here because that person hasn't acted in this way or said that thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
next question. Ready?
Ready?
What if success isn't about winning, but it's actually about feeling peaceful?
Oh, I love this question.
Yeah. This really does create a shift. Ian kind of touched on something earlier. And what he really didn't say is, I'm getting to that space now because I'm older. But I wasn't there when I'm younger. I'm saying it because as I'm older now, I'm redefining what success is.
Yeah. And I think that's so important. At the moment, I'm following one of my biggest joys and one of the few things I go on socials for at the moment. There's these monks who are walking across America for peace.
Yeah.
And I wrote a piece about it in Substack and about that being, I think, is what happiness is and success is.
Yeah.
Is that inner peace, that eternal peace that we think we're trying to, it needs to be elevated. And happiness is something that goes up and down and we all have a different set point. But where if we can just have inner peace and be peaceful, like, I think it's so much more powerful. And I think that's actually the thing that everybody's chasing, because the reaction that you're seeing online with the monks who are walking for peace,
Yeah.
they started very little publicity and thousands of people are turning out to support them. Like, it's touched something.
Yeah.
People, and they're just walking for peace. Like,
I think me and you are a chip off the same block in that with best intentions, we've kind of made chaos normality,
Yeah.
if that kind of makes sense.
Absolutely.
And we've associated it with productivity, achieving, and success and status. It's an easy trap. And actually, sometimes when you've come from that place, when things are calm or there's nothing to be done, it can feel a bit boring or unsafe.
100% that's me. 100%.
Yeah.
But for me, peace is probably isn't the traditional form of peace. It's not sitting in a quiet room enjoying being
Zen-like.
Zen. Yeah.
Yeah.
For me, that's not. But I do need to do that.
Yeah.
Because I need balance. I do need to find time to just breathe.
but I
But
think that's
for-
the piece you're saying there. That's the inner peace. So you can be the calm within a storm. Things can be happening
Yeah,
around you.
I think
Oh,
that inner peace,
absolutely.
though, that inner peace is not about chasing momentum, growth, expansion. That, to me, is like just taking your foot off the gas and allowing what you've done to just play out.
Yeah.
Well, for me, success and peace, they interlink. Peace for me is about being able to enjoy what I do and being in the space that I'm in at the time. That
Yeah.
doesn't mean I have to be
Yeah.
static. That means I have to be comfortable with what I'm doing. Like you said, having that peace and being able to not instantly react and fire off at everything that comes at you. For me, success was never ever about money. It was
Right.
always about choices.
Okay.
So I'll be very clear. And then, but what most people do is they forget about the fact that it's about choices. They just stay focused on the money. But then what you need to remember is, what do I do with these choices that I've got? Because most people lose sight of that. I have got choices. So for me, working hard and finding peace, it's success was about getting to a place where I had the freedom to make the choices I wanted to make and the personal peace
Yeah.
that opens up those.
So you need
So-
to remember your why.
Yes, that's where I was about to go. So now and
Right.
again, you just need to revisit your why. But
Okay.
if peace to me is definitely about just getting yourself in a space where you can enjoy. But some people, peace is pushing forward. Some people, it's
Yeah.
sitting quietly in a
Well,
room.
I think for me, when I find peace, what it will do is it will show me how stressed I really am. It's that space to go, because what I've noticed is that, you know, always on, always operating, lack of space, lack of capacity really narrows my thinking and my decision making ability. And actually finding peace gives me clarity. It means I have better judgment. My ideas come to me, but I always felt it was the other way around. If I was full on, the ideas and the clarity came to me.
Yeah,
No.
and I think
Yeah.
that's something I gifted myself
Yeah.
over these last couple of years. Is, I've slowed down my business, and it's like, what's really important to me? What do I want to do? Who do I want to work with? and really evaluated it, because I just took my foot off the pedal and just stopped.
I was reading something really interesting the other day, and it kind of, at first I read it, I went, no. And then I found myself thinking about it. And it was talking about building abundance. Yeah. And what it talked about was, in particular, it goes like, a lot of people spend a lot of time chasing a figure in their bank account to get to a figure in a bank account, or a status and position in life, because they think when they get there, peace will arrive with it, or
I'll
this
be happy
feeling,
when.
or this
No.
feeling arrive with it. And actually, it went into how the science of having more than you actually need has the reverse effect on you, because then you fall into the position of managing, sustaining. Actually, somehow you end up finding you need more. You elevate to the next level. And there's a lot of people that have just what they need and no more, and their minds are a lot more settled.
Yeah. Well, that's something I was going to touch on in another question.
Right.
But for me, sacrifice and, well, being willing to sacrifice your time, your peace, and whatever you need to do to provide and get what you need is one thing. But then people are willing to make exactly the same sacrifice for all this stuff that they just don't need, which is
Yeah.
kind of a bonus on the top. And that's
Yeah.
the bit I can't figure out.
Yeah.
And I feel a little bit more balanced than I ever was.
It's interesting. Some of the people that I know and the clients I've been working with have actually attained a level of success and then realized, hang on, I'm being busy managing the teams, managing the companies, and all these commitments, and they've actually been taking a step back and letting a lot of some of their most successful programs go. Like, there's a couple of really big online influencers who run stuff, and they're just stopping it. So this, I'm seeing it again and again now. It's almost like it's intentional leadership, and we get to be intentional in the choices we make, because if people who we perceive at the top are letting things go to simplify and make things easier so that they can enjoy the fruits of their labor, so they can have more family time, so they can have more experiences.
Well, I'm really glad that you brought that up. It's almost like it was rehearsed, because it beautifully segues us into the next question, which is, what am I avoiding because it's easier to stay busy? It's a big one, and this will resonate with some people. I can answer it. I stay busy to stop, so I don't have to stop and focus on the areas of my life that really need attention. But the price I've paid for that, I've noticed in the last 2 years, is health.
Yeah.
My body's telling me now in my 50s, oi, you've ripped the backside out of it for 30 odd years now. We're not going to allow you to keep doing, you might, in here, you might want to keep doing it.
Oh, I've got two answers to this one.
Right.
One's really shallow.
Okay.
And then I'll get that one afterwards. But the other one is, I tend to keep myself busy because it's better than having a load of noise in your head when it starts. Generally, it takes time, but then the thoughts start creeping into your head, and it's just not peace. It's just, so sometimes I'll keep busy, 'cause like they say, busy hands, quiet mind, which
Yeah.
isn't ideal. I'm not really bad for it, but I do have periods of stress and what have you where
Yeah.
that happens. The other reason is, sometimes if I'm busy doing things that I think are productive, things I want to do, and things that I think are pushing towards my end goal, well, to be fair, then I'm not getting sucked into something that I don't want to do. That's the shallow one.
I think we can get busy doing stuff.
Yeah. And it's that being busy, as you just said, Ian, it actually can be a way of protecting us, as you say, from dealing with grief, from loss, from loneliness, disappointment, setback, the feelings we haven't processed in a couple of questions ago.
So it's distraction.
Yeah.
That's what we're really saying, is distraction. Because it's not the secret sauce here, If I was Yoda talking to young Luke, you need to learn how to quieten your mind.
Yeah.
Not through activity, by actually sitting in the discomfort of, dealing with your thinking and stuff like that. Because, what would happen? I've thought about this. There might be a point, Andy, where you can't be physically busy or as active as you are. How are you going to run away then? And then part of you goes, "We'll deal with that then." It might not ever happen. Blah blah blah. But you get what I mean. It's for me. It was about busy doesn't mean being fulfilled. and I'm sometimes using it as a distraction, and I kid myself on that I'm moving and I'm progressing, but I'm actually not. The real work's over.
Busy being busy.
Busy being busy. Yeah, it's an easy trap. It's a really easy trap to kind of fall into. All right, should we fire into the last question?
Last question. Let's
Okay.
go.
What would my life look like if I trusted myself completely?
Yeah.
I don't know what it would look like, but it would be different.
I'm pretty good in this area. I'm not 100% there, but I know that if I truly trusted myself and always, certainly had done in the recent past, the decisions that I had made for myself wouldn't have been, they'd have been much more completely in. They wouldn't have been with a need for certainty because I don't trust an element of myself, or because I'm not trusting my judgment. I'm scared of failure. So there's decisions and judgments that I've made in the past that could have pushed me forward a lot further, but I've never really fully, well, there's been areas where I've not fully committed because that trust in my decision making wasn't quite there.
So what I'm hearing you saying is, Andy, trust isn't a feeling; it's practice.
Yeah. It's
There
in the
is,
small,
exactly.
It's going through the process
Definitely.
and practice.
And it's holding true to ourselves. If we say we're going to do something, it's those micro promises we make ourselves.
Yeah.
And showing that, like if you say that we're in the new year, if you say you're going to, like, I'm going to work out or I'm going to go for walks, if we set ourselves up for failure, like I'm going to work out 5 days a week, but really our time can only do 2. So then we've already let ourselves down. I never follow through. I can't trust myself. Whereas if we can be realistic with our expectations and, okay, what am I able to do? So we set ourselves up to prove that we can trust ourselves and prove that we will do what we say and finish what we started.
Or
Or
do we just sit on certain things and wait for certainty to arrive?
Yeah.
Then we execute, which in most cases, it very rarely, certainty tends to turn up as you take certainty comes from action, not inaction. How many times have you heard somebody say, one day I will, or when this happens, I will then do this, or I'll make that decision, or, when they do that, I'll then leave and I'll do this. And you're like, so basically you're basing your decision on something out with you you've got no control over. So you're basically saying probably never. Yeah, I think making one small decision, and do you know what? I don't like the word fail, because even if it doesn't work out, there's learning.
Yeah, always.
It's that classic, isn't it? There's no such thing as failure. There is just feedback. So if any of those questions have stirred something up in you, you don't need to answer them today. Just notice which one of the questions you tend to avoid, because that's enough for now. Sometimes the question isn't really needing to be solved in the moment. You just need to lean into it a little bit. I think that's the key thing here. As always, thank you ever so much for watching. Please click that bell or subscribe icon so you get notified of future episodes, and we'll catch you in the next episode of Tickety Boo.
If you or someone close to you needs to access mental health support, please contact your GP, or if it's out with normal office hours, get in touch with NHS 24 on 111. Alternatively, contact the Samaritans on 116 123. All calls are free of charge from any phone. You can also find more support information on the Tickety Boo website, ticketyboopodcast.co.uk.